Hello everyone and welcome back. I am doing another video on the World Cup. We just finished the group stages. We have our 8 teams that are going to be competing at BlizzCon in Anaheim on November 3rd and 4th. So I wanted to go through that, talk about the group stages, talk about everyone's path to Anaheim, but I also just sort of wanted to give you some juicy details of what to expect over the next few days. So first things first, I am not actually casting this Overwatch World Cup at Anaheim, any of these final games, but I will be co-streaming. So I'm going to be co-streaming actually from BlizzCon. I have a streamer set up and I'm going to be trying to get as many sort of players and people and personalities from the event to come onto the co-stream, sort of talk about the games, and just enjoy the matches. I will be live on my Twitch channel, twitch.tv/Custa. Make sure to come join in if you guys want to sort of enjoy a watch party. More importantly as well, there will be drops on my channel. So there are more drops going on during the main event on November 3rd to 5th. We got the World Cup Let's Rush spray and a World Cup home and away skins. Let's dive. Bunch of different things that you can get and earn from just watching on people's Twitch streams. Connect to your Twitch account, to your Battle.net account. You will earn these rewards if you hang out in a Twitch stream, just like mine. So I hope I get to see some of you there. But let's talk about the group stage that we just witnessed. So 8 teams qualified out of these 4 groups of 4 teams. We had South Korea and Finland coming out of Group A. This was, in my opinion, probably the easiest group of all of them. South Korea had a very dominant performance against Colombia and Mexico, but actually heavily struggled against Finland, which is a surprise because Finland are a wildcard team, a team that wasn't even considered to be part of this Overwatch World Cup, but due to the wildcard, they've made it through and they've made it all the way to the final stages at BlizzCon. And Finland, they very almost beat South Korea. It went to the 3rd map, the 5th round of Flashpoint. It really was to the very end. And if Finland can compete with South Korea, some of the best players in the world, how far are they going to be able to go against some of these other teams? Finland honestly had a very impressive performance. I think Vestola has really been stepping up on the Sigma, one of the heroes he is known for. But just honestly, even though they're not as well-known players, Sauna and Cloud on the DPS have really been stepping up in a big way. And MikG, like, I don't know, like this team kind of came out of left field for me. This is the dark horse team of the tournament. Even if they don't go on to win it all or anything like that, you still have to applaud the performance that they've had. Java, not now. I do not need to update. So that is Group A. South Korea definitely looking beatable so far in this group. They just didn't look as dominant as we were expecting them to be. Lip had some monstrous performances on the Sojourn, but overall it just didn't feel like South Korea rolled over everyone like we thought they might. They did against Colombia and Mexico, but if Finland is any indicator, it could be a tough set of matches ahead. We head over to Group B. We go to the Commonwealth matches plus Brazil. Brazil, unfortunately, did not have a great performance, didn't win a single map, but, you know, it was good to see them on the national stage. Australia also fell short playing Cuffer Reinhardt with the Australian squad, tried to play the rush into a lot of these Sigma compositions, and it just didn't work against United Kingdom and Canada. Both of those teams did a great job of recognizing and then just sort of adapting, just sort of taking in the Reinhardt aggression and then just playing Sigma, pumping out damage. Canada had a pretty good performance, only falling to the United Kingdom, but United Kingdom were by far and away the standouts of this group. I think a lot of people predicted Canada to be better than UK, but given the meta that we're in right now, it's not surprising to see UK really just sort of stepping up. We had Backbone, Kai's in perfect form on that Sojourn right now. Jkaru's been very impressive to me, not just on the Sigma, but playing some of these dive heroes as well. So I think Great Britain is a team that you need to keep your eye on to see how far they're actually going to be able to make it through this, because yes, it wasn't the hardest group, but United Kingdom look in this meta to be very strong. Group C, we had a team from China, for those that were paying attention. Yeah, China obviously just way better than everyone else in this group. Spain, their really only competition was going to be Thailand in this matchup, and they won that 2-0. Spain have actually, considering how few big names that they have, they actually kind of impressed me, but I think as we go into the round of 8, they're going to face some much tougher opponents, and we'll see how that goes for them. But team from China doing very, very well. They're playing a lot of dive style. We even saw some Gushwei Sigma in there, but should be no surprises. You got the entirety of the Hangzhou Spark in this roster. They are probably the team that has struggled the least, unless you go over to Group D and we look at Saudi Arabia, who topped the group 6-0, handily beat the USA, and by far the best team in the group of death in Group D. France went 0-3. They actually were a pretty solid team, all things considered. I think they would have beaten some of these other teams in different groups, but in the group that they're in, Japan, United States, and Saudi Arabia all, sort of punching above their weight of what you would potentially expect. Japan, we had them a full team, barrel from Asia Pacific contenders. They looked coordinated, but it just felt like they didn't have the mechanical matchup against Saudi Arabia and United States. The big story for the United States has been Super not playing in their first two matches. USA pretty handily beat France in the third map and somewhat in the first map, but they lost the second map to France, which was a surprise to a lot of people. Felt like United States were caught off guard by the speed that France were playing, and United States were just relying on their individual mechanics to get them across the line. So some worrying signs in their first two matches, but in the third match that USA played against Japan, they played dramatically better. They put Super in to play the Sigma, and the team just looked more coordinated, more cohesive. It is worth noting that it was against Japan, so maybe the Japan team wasn't as strong at punishing USA, and they would have won with Kaluge anyway. But regardless, I expect to see Super play just because he has that confidence, he has that leadership qualities, and right now seems like all of the fans from USA are behind Super. So Saudi Arabia topping the group, and I think potentially going to go further than a lot of people were expecting. But the important thing to note, because United States came in at the second seed, it changed how this bracket looks, and the bracket is wild. So we have Korea, Canada, China, and USA all in the top half of the bracket. What that means, most importantly, is that the bottom side of the bracket is by easily much easier as a whole, but someone from Great Britain, Finland, Saudi Arabia, or Spain is going to make the grand finals at the Overwatch World Cup, which means we will see a new team in the finals. I believe. I don't think any of these other teams. Great Britain's the only team that I think potentially might have gotten further in this, but I think the best they've ever gotten is third. So we will see a new team sort of crown themselves at the top. So USA kind of throwing a wrench in things, and USA's first matchup is going to be against China, which China's been looking exceptional. USA struggling from time to time. Very different compositional matchup though. China wants to play the dive, playing very differently, while USA has almost exclusively been playing the Sigma compositions with Hydron on the Sojourn. So we'll see how that matchup comes through, but this is an Overwatch League level matchup at the beginning of the bracket. Korea goes up against Canada. I think South Korea are probably much better than Canada. Obviously, they struggled against Finland a little bit, but Canada, they're strong, but they don't look flawless right now. I would be surprised if Canada could get the edge. Then Great Britain versus Finland is really a team, a matchup of teams punching upwards. I think Great Britain has been stepping up in a big way. Their players look very comfortable. Christopher, as the head coach, I think has been doing great work with this team. But the same can be said for Finland. I would give the edge to Great Britain, and I will do that in my predictions, but we'll see. And then Saudi Arabia versus Spain. I expect Saudi Arabia to get the win. I think Spain is probably the weakest team out of all of these teams here. I'd love for them to prove me wrong like they already have, but Saudi Arabia looked very dominant. Not even just a team that is having to play the Pharaoh or like trying to cheese people out of wins like we've seen from like Twisted Minds or Saudi Arabia in the past where they like to play the Pharaoh. They're playing straight up and they're just better than other teams. We saw that against Team USA. So let's do my predictions and make it through here. Graphic design is my passion. So let's get this through. So Korea versus Canada. I'm going to give the win to Korea. I think Korea is going to move on. South Korea, let's go. Maybe I should actually let's grab the name as well. So oh yeah, look at that. Oh, that fits in nicely. Look at that. I think that Korea is going to win. I'm going to give them a 3. Okay, graphic design is going to get worse. It's only going to get worse from here, chat. This is going to be a 3. I'm going to give Canada a map because I think South Korea haven't been that flawless throughout this tournament. I think there's a world in which Canada gets one of these maps. It is worth noting that all these matches will be a best of 5. So we'll see more map types. We'll hopefully see less fucking Circuit Royale. Holy shit. And we'll get some much better matches overall because series can start to develop. Best of 3. matches can be over before they even really feel like they've begun. So then we're going to have China versus USA. And this is very interesting because I actually think I prefer the way that USA plays. But is the super factor going to be enough to get them the edge? Oh, man. I just don't think I can pred USA after their performance against Saudi Arabia. Yes, they looked better against Japan, but that's a weaker team than Saudi Arabia. So USA, they haven't given me much confidence. China was much better in this tournament. I'm going to go 3-2. I'm going to have this be a giga banger. But I'm going to have China getting it over Team USA. And that's going to be crazy if USA gets knocked out in the round of 8. But honestly, if that's what happens, the bracket felt like it was changed for them. I don't really want to speak too much on the drama of the brackets being changed so late in the game and everything that happened there. I don't really know what happened, but it feels like USA were in the best position to be able to sort of, like, if USA had beaten Saudi Arabia, they would have been on the better side of the bracket and they would have been able to have their easy run through to the finals. But hey, Saudi Arabia with the better team, they deserve the better seed. So USA, now they got to pay for their sins. They got to go up against China first round. We'll see if the super effect can be better. Then we move over to Great Britain versus Finland. I think Great Britain is a more well-rounded team. I'm going to make this a 3-1. I think Finland's been impressing me, but I think overall Finland didn't have too many tough matches. Obviously, the only tough match that they had was South Korea, which they were exceptional, but can they replicate that? I'm just sort of a doubter, maybe a little bit. I don't want to just like knee-jerk react after what we saw from Finland versus Korea because, as I said, in a best-of-3 series, anything can happen, and I don't think South Korea were playing particularly well in that series as well. Just poor coordination, a lot of weird mistakes from them. So I think Great Britain just look a lot more coordinated, and I think they'll be able to handle what Finland is doing better because this is likely to be a Sigma-May matchup, and I think Great Britain have the edge in that one. Then we go to KSA versus Spain. I'm actually going to give a 3-0 to KSA. I don't think Spain are going to be able to match what Saudi Arabia are giving. Like, it's been awesome to see Saudi Arabia really stepping up in a big way of, like, obviously their region as a whole is starting to prop up a lot more in the last few years, and you're really starting to see that in that first World Cup. So big props to this team. They've been playing very well. I'm just going to... yeah, let's do that. And then let's grab Great Britain here. Boom. Look at that. Oh my God, I'm so talented. Solomon, let's fire Solomon. I'll run plat chat. Then we have South Korea versus China in the semifinals. Holy... Bro, I want to go for China. Am I crazy? Like, as much as I can't give Finland too much props for that matchup against South Korea, a lot of those failures, I think, came to the Korean roster. And it feels crazy to think that Korea could lose this, but they just don't look as good. Oh, man. Oh, but China was in a pretty easy group for the most part. And that's becomes the thing is, like, I feel like we haven't seen China really be pushed to the edge. I think I gotta go for South Korea. Like, this is probably just some old bias coming in here, but I think I gotta give it to South Korea. This might be a throw, all things considered, but no, my heart is telling me it's not going to be Korea. We're going to go 3-2. I think China's going to win. I think I can't get it out of my head that China's going to win. South Korea just haven't looked as perfect as I want them to be. And I think China have just been absolutely killing it. Oh wait, no, whoops. That's not what I wanted. We're going for China, chat. YOLO. Let's go. China goes in to the top side. And then Great Britain versus Saudi Arabia. This is a really interesting matchup. Like, I think very interesting. Because I think both teams are going to play very similarly. I actually think I'm going to go for Great Britain. I think Great Britain look really good. But maybe I'm just overcompensating because they only play Canada and Australia and Brazil. But I think they just, like, in this meta, they look Like, they understand exactly how they want to play the game. I think Backbone on the Mei, Kai on the Sojourn has been ridiculous. There's a world in which Saudi Arabia just like plays their like shooter compositions and they just like absolutely pump out damage. But something about me feels like a Great Britain is going to make it through. And I hope I'm right. I think it'd be really awesome to see Great Britain get to the finals. This is also going to be another 3-2 though. This is gonna go the distance. 3-2 here, come for Great Britain. And then China versus Great Britain in the finals. I'm going to give it to China. I think just mechanics, this Chinese team is exceptional right now. And honestly, if we got a China versus Great Britain finals, that would be awesome in its own right. This is the grand finals. We're going to go 4-2 for China. Actually, shoot. This might be a best of 5 still. I don't know. This might be a best of 5. If it is a best of 5, then it's 3. We'll go 3-2 and we'll make it close. But 4-2 if it's a best of 7. I'm not exactly sure, actually. I should have had that. But let's put China as the dubs, as the world champions, which would be funny. It would be really funny if China won and the game wasn't even available in their country. And third place match, I literally don't care. I don't care about third place match. So that is my bracket. I think there's a lot of... It's actually interesting going through this bracket because I hadn't thought about it too much, but there's so many upsets that can happen, and there's so many different variances. Like, this China versus USA game could go either way. Korea versus China or Korea versus USA could go either way. I don't think any of the Korea, the Chinas, or the USAs have looked unstoppable, which I think is awesome. And I think that also opens the door of Great Britain have been really playing very well. Saudi Arabia has been playing very well. Like, how are these two going to match up as well? It's awesome to see these guys also be able to face each other, and we're going to see someone new in the grand final. So this weekend, these matches are going to be awesome. It's awesome to have World Cup back. It's been such a fun event. I'm excited to be there at BlizzCon. Make sure to come in, join me at my co-stream. I'm going to be bringing people on. I think so far I got like Dante, I got Ubershouts, and CB. I got a bunch of different people who want to jump on the co-stream. We'll get some of their thoughts. We'll have fun. It'll be a great time. Come get your drops at my channel. Thank you very much for watching. I hope you appreciate it. I hope you guys have an amazing weekend. I'm happy for BlizzCon to be back. Peace.